following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of the Horicon School District, not WBEV, ESPN Radio, or Good Karma Brands. And without further ado, we head to the Daily Dodge TV studio, and with today's Taking Care of Business Marsh Talk, here is Corey Sparks.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff Hall. This is Taking Care of Business on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. We are also streaming live on Daily Dodge TV on YouTube if you want to wave at our smiling faces as well. This is Marsh Talk on February 19th of 2025, a Wednesday in Dodge County. It could be warmer. I'm just going to keep saying that, keep complaining about that till we get the daylight savings, till it's above freezing. Before I introduce each of you, where's the threshold of I'm done with this weather? Because if it's below like 5 degrees, that's where I start to complain.
Yeah, it's getting really close. Yeah. Do crossing guards in the morning, and it's really cold. Both Grace and I are out there getting kids into school, and it's been really nasty cold the last 2 days, but thank goodness the wind wasn't too bad.
That's always my thing.
We were able to tolerate it.
If the wind lays off, we're okay.
But it's coming. Next week, we see 40s.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. From your right to your left on the Daily Dodge TV screen, my name is Corey Sparks. I'm your host for today. We have Josh Maas, we have Grayson Stocks, and as per usual, we have Rich Appel on Marsh Talk today as well. And to go along the lines, if we could just get introductions from each of you to those at home or on Daily Dodge TV who are consuming this content for the first time, introductions on who each of you are and kind of the purpose behind Marsh Talk and informing everybody in and around the Horicon area.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll do that. Mm-hmm.
All right, my name is Josh Maas, and most of you know I'm the mayor of Horicon. Grew up there, graduated high school there in 1992, moved back like in 2010, married to a Horicon native, have a stepson who's a senior at Horicon. I have a daughter who's at Portage. The superintendent of schools talked my daughter into going to Iowa next year.
Go Hawks.
Even though I'm a Badger. Stepson's going to Stevens Point to be a DNR warden. And one of the reasons that we're doing this, we talked about this last year already. We're like a year and a half in, aren't we? We've been doing this for a while because this is great. It's a way for us to keep our community informed. Our council is on board with it. We talk. They actually invested some of our city funding into this because they believe in it too. And we bring in, different guests each month who can talk about what's kind of going on that month. And you'll hear from the next guy who is probably the most famous Horicon City employee. So I look forward to being able to introduce our SRO Sergeant Grayson Stocks.
I'm Sergeant Stocks, newly promoted, currently in the role of SRO with the school partnership program between the city and the school. I think we're going into my 5th year doing that.
Originally from?
I'm originally from Randolph.
Okay.
I graduated in 2005. I did some time in the Army.
And I'm Rich Appel. Been in Horicon now 9 years. Before that, I was in Chilton for 21 years and an Iowa Hawkeye and Iowa native. So transplant up here. My wife teaches in Mayville, which we have, anytime she walks out of the house with her Cardinal clothing on, we have a little discussion about that because there's still a little rivalry between the Marshmen and the Cardinals there. Have 5 kids between us, and I also did a stint in the Army about 24 years. And how this idea came up, one of my roles in the military was while we were in Iraq, I was to promote all of the different projects and goodwill efforts that we were doing in the provinces of Iraq. Mm-hmm. And so I would go in on a Sunday afternoon, and very similar to this, we would have topics that we wanted to do on a television show in Iraq, and then they would broadcast this out to the people there that would really promote what schools were being repaired, what activities were happening, so that they knew what was going on. Because if you don't tell the good news stories out there, people assume what's happening. And so we really know how much is happening in Horicon that's just so very positive. And we want to be able to tell that story, both in the school and the city. We're really great partners together, and we work together because what's good for one is good for the other. And there's so many people in Horicon that really enjoy what's happening, going on there right now with all the good news, things that are happening. So we just want to get on here and tell those stories. And that's one of the things we're going to focus on today, because a really good news story is our SRO, and that's going to be our focus for today.
Absolutely. Well, before we go into that, I love that you brought up Mayville. I've been thinking about, I've been in this area for about a year and a half. I'm a big mascot guy. I love unique mascots everywhere. Marshman has to be one of one in Wisconsin, right? There's not another
It's the only
Marshman
one in
out
the
there.
world.
In the,
We're the
in
only
the world.
ones in the world. Yep.
That is awesome. Peace and love to the Cardinals, but that one's gets
there's
used
a lot of
little
Cardinals.
more.
There's a lot of
There's
Cardinals.
only 10
Wildcats?
Cardinals in Dodge
Yeah.
County alone. It's pretty original, Mayville.
I wouldn't say there's a lot of beavers, but there's a few.
Right.
But Marshmen were the only ones.
I was going to say Cardinals, Wildcats, what are the other, real often, Tigers? There's only one Marshman.
Yeah,
Only one.
exactly right.
That's awesome stuff. Well, you mentioned going over kind of our City of Horicon block with officers' stocks. Take it away.
We're going to go with me.
Yes, it'll be you. I am off. I wrote the wrong thing. We'll go with Josh Maas.
Yeah, I will. I'll move that down to Grayson at the end.
Gotcha.
So there's a few things I want to go over this month. One of the things you'll see on City Council coming up in, I guess, a week and a half, 2 weeks, is the topic of fluoride in the water. I know they've been talking about it on Wisconsin Public Radio and the case that they just had in DeForest and around the rest of the state. I give a lot of credit to our one alderwoman who is out there fighting and trying to do everything she can to keep the fluoride in the water. She's doing exactly what an alderperson is supposed to do. Fight for what you believe in, fight for your constituents. I respect that. At the same time, I am extraordinarily proud of our DPW utilities director and our utilities workers who are trying to promote, why we no longer need fluoride in Horicon's water. Horicon actually has a pretty decent amount of naturally occurring fluoride, which is different than a lot of communities around us. The very little that we add is more of a nuisance for our employees that have to handle this acid than provides, because it's at one level that we're at as far as naturally occurring, and to get it to what the max you can put in, that very little amount isn't really phasing anything.
Okay.
So at the same time, I'm going to say I don't have a vote on this. And so I don't have a say of whether or not the fluoride stays in the water. That is a council thing. But I am letting people know that this is a hot topic for some folks out there. And at this point, educate yourself on it. Talk to your alder people. Let them know your opinions on whether or not you want fluoride in the water. I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at by our utilities guys after I leave the radio for bringing it up. But at the same time, it's our job to let people know that this is going to be on the agenda this month. And, it's not like we don't have fluoride. It's not like in 1951 when Horicon started putting fluoride in the water, now we have 74 years of data and stuff we just didn't have then. And like I said, we also have it naturally occurring. So I'm just letting people know that's on the agenda. I don't have an opinion on it one way or another. I leave that up to the experts and to our council to have a vote.
Not to get too scientific, but this is just coming from a general curiosity standpoint. What leads to the naturally occurring fluoride? Where does that come from, I guess, in the water?
Leaching.
Okay, just leaching. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just whatever rocks you have around and how deep your aquifer is or how shallow it is. And like anything else that would be naturally occurring in water, like some communities have radium in their water just because of where their water table sits. We don't.
Right.
Our water is actually extraordinarily good. So we're lucky that way.
Fair enough. And kind of staying on water, water rates will likely go up as well?
Yep.
Okay.
So on our next bill, and it shouldn't be a shock. It's been posted in the newspaper for months. It's been posted at City Hall for months. It's been said in multiple council meetings. But our water utility has been running in the red for years, meaning that we're losing money running our utility, which the state's PSC, or Public Service Commission, says you cannot do. So we got to get our rates up to at least break even. So the amount of money coming in is the same as the money going out. Now with water rates, again, this isn't taxes, this is rates. So it shows up on your little postcard every month for water. Water is very cheap. So right now in Horicon, 1,000 gallons costs about a little over $4. So the average house uses about 4,000 gallons a month. So your water bill is usually the water portion of your bill is about $16.
Sure.
And if it goes up, 40, 50%, it's going to go from 16 to 24. It's not, $8, $6, $7, $8 on average. But again, this is based on usage. Use less water, pay less money. It's not like taxes where the value of your house goes up and up. This is simply on how much water you use. That's how much you get charged.
Right.
So I just want to make that clear. But these water rates, we got to be in compliance with the Public Safety, or the Public Service Commission, sorry. And, this is something that in hindsight, probably before me, but you can blame me if you want, that we should have been doing, some rate increases smaller at the time. So just letting everyone know, that's actually to start showing up on the next billing cycle.
In terms of at least how long things have been logged, have you guys, I shouldn't say you guys, but the utility has been running in a deficit up until this point? Years. Okay, gotcha.
They're not going to call you over a month or two. It's years.
Okay. And then making that change, when does that go into place, I guess? Anytime in 2025, or is this looking ahead to next year?
The actual rate change is occurring now.
It's happening right now.
So it's going to happen on your March water bill.
Got it. All right. And moving on to the water treatment plant.
Yeah, the wastewater treatment plant is going to be the largest critical infrastructure thing we've ever done in Horicon as a city. It hasn't, along with the school's big too, but this one's a big one where we're all paying for it. And at this point, I was at a meeting with them today. We're still at the design phase, so you won't see anything as far as your sewerage or your wastewater treatment as far as the bill going up.
Sure.
But like Lemira, Mayville, Juneau, Theresa, most of our other communities, our wastewater treatment plant is over 40 years old. They have 25-year lifespans. This should have been done prior. Ever since COVID, a lot of the costs for construction have gone up a lot. But we're trying to do this in a way that utilizes a lot of our existing critical infrastructure out at the wastewater treatment plant, but upgrading everything that needs to be new. There's new technologies that are definitely needed to be implemented and all that stuff. So once they finally go to the bid process for the wastewater treatment plant, that's when we're going to start seeing, similar rate increases for, the sewer or the wastewater portion of your utility bill. But we don't know what that rate's going to be until the bids come in and we start the construction. And that's going to be a little bit down the road. I'll let everyone know when that actually happens. But I want everyone to start being prepared for that, because the design is going very well, very smoothly. The folks in Horicon that are responsible for the planning process, like our DPW utilities director, our utilities foreman, and the rest of the utilities crew, along with our city engineer, MSA, out here in Beaver Dam, are doing a wonderful job. I'm very impressed with what I saw today. But this is a necessity. Hopefully we can do something with our rate increases that aren't all, front load it up at once. Hopefully we can kind of stagger these rate increases so not everybody's getting a massive pain all at once. Myself and the council members, we're all city residents. We all have homes. None of us want to pay all this up front.
You'd prefer for it to be more gradual.
Yeah. And, none of us want to take the same pain. No one wants that. So that's kind of where we're at with the water treatment plant. It's moving forward. We don't have a choice. I mean, right now out at Marsh and Crossing, we've had to say no to potential industries coming in because we're at our capacity for this plant. I mean, we could take the capacity of building these new homes. They use very little water. They're depending on what industry comes in, they could use as much water in a day as a home uses in a year. So we don't have the capacity to take on any really, water intensive industries right now. We need to change that. We need to fix that. We got to upgrade our plant, get our infrastructure up to the point where we can be a little more attractive to these businesses that are interested in coming to our city.
That's good to know. And then, as you said, the details in terms of what the rates will be, that's kind of at the mercy of the bidding process, which hasn't started yet.
Yeah, it's completely at the mercy of the bidding process.
And then moving forward, I kind of brought this up as an icebreaker to begin the show. Winter is here. We are fully fledged in winter, per the negative wind chills right now. Speaking of that, a winter parking ordinance, you had a quick reminder on that.
Yeah, and our police department has been putting out reminders before every snowstorm. The winter parking ordinance obviously remains in effect. I wore a Horicon baseball shirt today and starts thinking, trying to turn everything into spring.
Yep.
But as of right now, please do. I know our DPW is still out there today with the Bobcat and the skid loaders picking up the snow that we had to plow downtown and taking out to our snow dump sites. Like Rich said, it's going to be 40 this weekend, but that's not going to phase this snow. The snow has already turned to rock.
Right.
So please remember the winter parking ordinance is still in effect, and it remains so for at least another month and 2 weeks.
Speaking of the spring coming up, there is a new business coming into town come spring, summertime. A Mexican restaurant's going to enter the Horicon area.
Yep, and they were at our our planning commission meeting. They actually even bought that home that's between where the restaurant's going and Mother's Day in order to have that lot there so they can have outdoor dining, so that the Mexican restaurant's in full swing. And we just had another restaurant/bakery open up downtown in the last month, Sweet Chet Chaya, who is very well known, at farmers markets and all over the county for the treats she makes, and she also makes this incredible Thai food. So I don't know, I'm pretty sure most people in Horicon know about it already, but yeah, we actually have a bakery and a Thai restaurant now downtown in Horicon. It's pretty neat.
Josh, what's the preferred Mexican cuisine? Are you a chimichanga, burrito, quesadilla guy, taco, all the above?
I spent my summers in Arizona, so authentic as I can get.
Okay.
As long as it burns my face.
There we go. Yeah, that's how you know it's working, right? Perfect. And then I believe this is where we're kind of tossing it over to Grayson for a quick update.
Yep.
Okay. Again, the new promotion to sergeant, it is new within the last 2 months. A lot of emotions for me. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Is probably the most important one, but at the same time, I'm a little sad because that means that I'm going to transition out of the school, back to patrol to lead the police department with questions and different things. So it'll be a new role for me. So there's a lot of unknowns, but ultimately I'm excited for the opportunity. Thanking my chief and city council and everybody else that has had the confidence in me to step into the new promotion.
Well, congrats on the promotion. On the note of reflection, could you talk a little bit about the relationships that you built in that school-oriented position beforehand?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I think we're going into our 5th year. We started out on a grant. Great relationship automatically coming in. We started, I think we're on chief number 4 for me, but we started with a different chief, and he gave me the opportunity to step into the role, knowing that it was going to be a huge task to build the program because We hadn't had one previously. I think there was one, but it was like a part-time deal. We'd never had a full-time one in Horicon. So that was a huge leap of faith that Chief Adamson that gave me, and I think that overall it's been successful, building relationships with not only the students but the staff as well, and continuing to build the relationships. Now we're done with the grant, so we just had it was just passed that it's a 4-year extension for the position between the city and the school. So I'm proud of that, definitely.
Yeah, I would like to add that Rich would have a better understanding than I would, but I can't imagine there are any cities and school districts as small as ours that have made this commitment to having a full-time SRO in our school. And I think one of the things that has made it so successful is that Adamson picked the right person to do that position. Because if you would have put someone in there that maybe didn't hit it off as well with the superintendent or the students, that's one of those things in a small city that can kind of die off. But the city's backing of the SRO position and Sergeant Stocks is something that you can only see if you live there.
What kind of a person did it take, when you were looking at Mr. Stocks here and just for candidates in general? You kind of hinted at it, but it needs to be a people's person and someone who's willing to build and foster those relationships.
You would have the better idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely takes the right person. You can't put somebody in there that doesn't want to be there.
Right.
You have to be willing to work with kids, and as Mr. Appel can attest to, it can be challenging at times. So at the end of the day, you need to go in with an open mind, and I thought I was really going to struggle with it, to try and connect with the kids. I figured I'd be okay with the staff, and Mr. Appel has been awesome to work with over the last 5 years. But it was almost immediate that I was able to connect with the kids and build those relationships and show them, that cops are people too.
Yes.
At the end of the day, just because we wear a badge and a gun doesn't make us any different, and I want to be there for them if they need something, and I believe all the kids know that now. But it took some time to show them, and when I first went in, I was in more of a different uniform, so I wore an outer vest carrier and everything like that, so some of the kids were a little hesitant on that. Now we've kind of relaxed the uniform a little bit so I can be more approachable. But yeah, now I have kids that just come in my office and just talk with me, just about
awesome.
Life stuff that's going on.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations to you, not only on the promotion, but building that positive perception and that sense of community between officers and students.
Yeah, thanks.
And I guess we'll segue over to Mr. Appel here, the one-of-one Marshman. I still can't get over. There's not a single mascot in the world that matches you guys. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing. But I want to tie in a couple of things with Grayson as well here. Mm-hmm. There's several things that go into the SRO position, and one is first off relationships. Because I sing our kids' praise all the time. I don't think anybody that's not in schools all the time, you may have a different impression of kids. I'm not worried about the future. I think our kids have great compasses, great connections to each other. Now I know we've got things, folks look at their devices, they're on their phones too much, they're doing this, but I think that Grayson can also tell you that they still want what we want. They want a safe environment. They want to have kids be nice to one another, just like we as adults do. They want them to follow the rules. Grayson, when he first came in, he wasn't there to enforce the law so much.
Right.
Has he had to at times? Yeah, he has. Mm-hmm. But the bigger things is those kids come to him, and he can tell you, like, last year, we give a report to the board every spring into the city, how many cases of different topics that he have to deal with just in a year, interaction with them, besides just the connections to kids. Mm-hmm. He gets invited to graduations. He's
awesome.
Connected to kids in a different way that they really see him as a police officer, but also as a trusted adult that they can go to when something comes up. So I'm going to let him talk about some of the incidents and things that he really had to interact with and the number of frequencies he had to do with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like Rich said, you know, a lot of the kids have built that positive relationship with them, and there's kids that see things in the school that they don't want in the school. So then having that positive relationship with them, they feel comfortable to come and tell me about it. So a lot of the stuff that I dealt with last year, you know, we dealt with approximately 10 truancy, you know, different things, kids not coming to school. I think that's pretty frequent in every school, you know, where you're going to have kids that aren't coming to school. Last year we had approximately 6 drug-related incidents, and most of those I was informed by other students. Hey, this individual's doing this in this location, you know, but for them to feel comfortable enough to come and tell me, but also the fact that they don't want that in their school,
Right.
you know, around them.
And with that, most of those, you know, these doggone vapes, THC, they get the THC cartridges. They think that they can come into school with them. We tell them day one, if you come in, you're not going to be there.
Right.
But Officer Stocks has been involved with that. So last year we had 6 total for the whole year. This year, proud to say, 0.
That's remarkable. Yep.
So the message gets sent. They know that they're going to, because kids will tell. They'll say, you know what, we don't want this, and you can smell it. And the kids will say, Officer Stocks, you need to know this is going on. So that's a positive change in our schools as well.
Yeah, overall this year, the calls for service on a lot of this stuff are down.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that is the relationship between the police department, Mr. Appel, and the city, that, you know, this isn't going to be tolerated inside of this building. You know, and so that comes down to the fighting and the THC vapes, or just the regular vapes, you know, with the kids doing it inside of the school, and we were able to send that message together with the school board and everybody that it just wasn't going to be tolerated. So the numbers are definitely down.
Well, it's awesome that it's down to a 0 too, and that's again just a testament to the trust that you build. That there are kids out there going, I know that they are here to protect and serve, and if I see something that isn't safe or abiding by these laws, I'm going to report it, right? I want it to be taken care of.
Yeah, and I want them to, if they see something, say something. You know, that's a message that we've sent together, is that we always try to make it where if you see something, please say something, no matter how small it be, whether it be a vape or a safety concern, or they hear students talking about different things, you know, we want them to come forward and let us know that this is going on so that we can correct it or address it if it needs to be addressed inside of the school.
100%.
So
And one of the key pieces to that is also in the mental health. Kids that struggle, either they may have a concern, they're going through a tough time, or some anxieties or different things, and it may come up where they're considering harming themselves. And so Officer Stocks is very much in a compassionate role with that, but also in getting them the help they need. So dealing with crisis line, I don't know how many nights he's had to drive a student. Parents have said we want them to be able to have some in hospital care, and he'll drive them there to go do that. So the mental health aspect of our work has increased substantially since I started in 1988.
Sure.
So, and to be able to support those kids through that. He also is in charge of our emergency procedures. Along with myself, we come up with the drills, we come up with the plans, we make sure our staff is fully aware of them, and then we practice those drills on a regular basis so that our kids are fully aware of those as well. And then he shares the limelight with me out there doing traffic control in the mornings where parents are dropping off kids, and we're looking to those 40 degrees weathers probably more than anybody.
Sure,
So,
right.
I would definitely say so. My toes were a little cold this morning, but for the most part, it was better than it was yesterday. But, you know, I think it's important for both of us to be out there and be seen. So not only do the parents know that we're there and that, you know, their kids are going to be safe, but just as an awareness, you know, sometimes you get parents that are in a hurry and they're coming through and maybe they're dropping off where they're not supposed to be, where it's not safe, different things like that. You know, if they see me, then sometimes that'll be a deterrent. You know
Indicator,
what I mean?
right? Yep.
Not to be
Yep.
a mean guy, but you know, just sometimes it happens.
And this is elementary through high school.
Sure.
He's present in all of those cases. And in the high school too, in the middle school, he'll do classes too. He'll go into classrooms and do educational lessons on different things that kind of relate to them. You know, how to handle themselves. What's their rights as a person, and what don't they have as a right to be able to deal with? So it's been his connections to kids has been really good. Now, as we transition through at the end of the year, he'll be a part. The city will be a part, and the school district will be a part to find the next SRO, because it does take a special character to be able to come in and be able to build those rapport skills with those kids and those connections. And so that'll be happening this spring.
Got to find the right fit. Before we continue, a reminder: the following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during this program are fully that of the Marsh Talk team here, not WBEV or Good Karma Brand. So the search will be on pretty soon for the new SRO.
Yes.
Big shoes to fill.
Yes.
Yes. I love the sly smile.
Yep.
To kind of shift over to kids-focused talk, a lot of different events coming up as we go into second semester, look ahead to the spring, hopefully warmer weather, but a lot of events.
Our kids are very, very active. We have a lot of programs at Horicon we're very proud of. I'm just going to go down a whole bunch of them here because I don't want to miss any of them. But our forensics team had a meet on Monday night in Horicon. Our kids, that's doing public speaking, radio broadcast, lots of things with forensics that it gives kids life skills to be able to take forward. They're competing throughout the next couple of months. Solo ensemble starts up March 1st. Our kids in choir and band go in both a solo or a small group, and they're performing, competing at St. Lawrence Seminary in Mount Calvary. That's with the WSMA. And then if they qualify, then they go on to the state and competition. That's usually in Oshkosh. Our 4-year-old kindergarten registration was yesterday. And so that's the class of 2039.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
where will we be in 2039?
Yeah, well, we hope we're around.
That's all I care.
Class of 2039. We had really good numbers of families that came in and registered, came in through their screening. What we're looking for there is maybe the child might need a little speech assistance with, or their readiness coming in and some things, so that we can kind of get to know the kids, get them registered, and let the parents, a lot of it's for parents. If you're a first-time parent coming in with a 4-year-old, you're like, how does this program work?
What do I do?
Yeah, so that's going really well. If anybody has any questions or want to still get their kids to be registered for the next school year, please have them contact the district office and talk to our district registrar, Heather Helsel. We have a community health worker that's sponsored by our Marshfield Hospital, Beaver Dam Hospital here. And Mrs. Gerton, Leah Gerton, is involved with that. She does an awful lot of things to support families in Horicon. And she's currently doing a clothing drive and shoes and socks drive for Belize. There's a group from Mayville actually going to Belize. They're going to be doing shoes and socks. And so she's also doing clothing drive to help families around the area as well. So that's going really, she does a fantastic job, and we appreciate the partnership with Beaver Dam Hospital, Marshfield Clinic. So next week is our Public Schools Week. I'm a very strong advocate. I believe our public schools are serving our kids amazingly well. And so next week we're going to kind of focus in on all the work and great things that happens in our public schools. High School Musical, Xanadu. What did I hear? One of the greatest roller skating musicals ever made. I think it's the only one. But Olivia Newton-John was in it back in the 80s, I believe, early 80s. And so our kids are going to be doing that March 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Okay.
Please look on there to come out and hear some great old music and see our kids perform. Our esports club has now completed their season. First time that we got that started. They did a fantastic job for getting started for the year. We appreciate our advisors, Mr. Kano and Mr. Watley. Our wrestling season, what a great season we had there.
Yes.
We were South Conference champions, 7-0 duels. Our girls conference champion finishers, oh my goodness. We had Ruby, Lori, Haley, and Siri were all first place winners. Natalie and Kaylee were also finishers. Now we have so many of these girls that are going on to sectionals this weekend, and then for their bid to try and get to state. Our boys, they did so great. We did finished fourth there, but as a team, we were conference champions in the South for duels.
There we go.
So really proud of our wrestlers and wish them well as they're going on to sectionals. Our basketball, the boys won a big one last night in overtime against Houstonford. Since we co-op in football, that's a great rivalry to have, but it's a friendship rivalry. It's like brothers playing against each other at Thanksgiving or something. So
There we go. That's a good way to put it, actually.
yeah, so it was but we won last night. I just want to do a shout out. We got that overtime win. But they're doing really well, 12-9 overall. Our girls are 11-11, tied for third in the conference. Our boys are in fourth place, but there's tied. They're really close. So they finished strong. We can at least move into that second place, we believe.
Playoffs are coming up, too.
Yep, that's coming up as well. Ice Fishing Club, this would be their last weekend. Would have been a time to go to lacrosse, but unfortunately the weather did not cooperate. So they're having their final event out at Fox Lake this weekend. They're going to have a cookout and go out there. Again, Brian Berggren and Jeff Wolf are advisors there with Rick Herbst, they do just a great thing for our kids. That's a lifelong skill they're going to carry on forever. So a lot of pride with that group. Our bowling team finished up strong season in there 2 weeks ago in Fort Atkinson. Forrest Fromme, who's also our city council president, and Nicolaus's also helped. There's a lot of people who help out with that. So, again, proud of our bowling team. Science Olympiad, we had several of them qualified for our team. They're going to be going to UW Stout for the state competition. Our FBLA qualifiers just went through for regionals, and they're going to UW Green Bay in a few weeks. We got a lot of qualifiers for that. And then next Tuesday night, girls hockey with Wade Bates and girls hockey, and Lena Ruckert from Horicon is our freshman girl who gets on that ice and gets playing.
There we go.
So I'll be over here watching Lena and the Beaver Dam girls as they start their sectional run going. So a lot of things happen with our clubs and sports teams.
It's a busy time of year.
Oh, it's crazy. This week is our National FFA week. We have a fantastic FFA program there. And Alice Kern just came back to us from maternity leave, and she's our advisor, and she's one of the finest in the States. So this week we have dress-up days. Hunting season is today. They have their camo and their orange blaze going on there today. Let's go for a drive. Drive your truck or tractor to school tomorrow. Hopefully they will park in appropriate spots. And then Friday is FFA swag day where they wear their blue. So there's a lot of things
I was supposed to ask
happening.
if you can drive your lawn tractor.
Yeah, my lawn tractor. Yeah, they got to park it in the snow, though. So, yeah. So there's just, as you can see, so many positive things. Our kids are very, very busy, and I'm proud to say that our kids are going out for sports.
Yeah.
And out for these clubs. We have a lot of kids out for these clubs, too. In a lot of schools, they're struggling to get kids to go out. And that means that we have great advisors, and we have a really good thing going with our kids who want to participate and do things. So really proud of all of our kids and what's happening there.
Yeah, great facilities, too. My first impression of Horicon was the football field that we went to cover. I was like, oh, my goodness. It's like a pro facility. It's awesome.
It is amazing. Yeah, we're really, really proud of our complex there. So
Absolutely.
Then I still continue to promote. We have 17 kids that are going to be going to Guatemala in June, the 19th to the 25th. And there's 5 adults that are going to go with them, and we're going to be we're going to be building little school clinics there, little school houses, and they do it with recycled products, garbage bottles that they put within to make up the frame of the walls. So we're going to be helping those kids out, but we're still looking to cover costs. So we had a January meat raffle that was sponsored by our Horicon Lions Club, and we brought in over $3,100 for that one event.
Wow.
And then we have a big bucks raffle coming up, being sponsored by our Marshman Foundation. And so if anybody's interested in being a part of that, it's $50 a ticket. We're only selling 300 tickets. You have a chance to win $2,000 is the top prize, $1,000, $500 or $100 or $50 prizes. We'll be donating, or a lot of the proceeds go to the paying those raffle tickets back out. But we're going to be making some good dollars off of that one to help offset with the costs. And then Josh Mookie in Modern Woodman is going to be helping us out with the matching, and so that'll be announced here pretty soon. That amount that's going to be going towards that wonderful trip that we're going to be doing as well.
Awesome. I don't know how to quantify this. I'm just going to come out and ask you, is this the busiest time of the school year? Or it's got to be up there. It's got to be a contender, right?
It is.
Okay.
It is, because we, just around the corner, we're going to have prom coming up. And
Right.
then as soon as we get through February, March, April, May, we have graduation on May 17th. Mm-hmm. May 17th 's
Got
graduation
spring
already.
sports. Yep.
Then we're done by Memorial Day.
Okay.
So the kids, it's a fast race to the finish here, but it is a very busy time.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun, though. Very engaging
Oh, yeah.
community, which is awesome.
It is. It's really fun.
And then next coffee is March 13th.
Yeah, we do our community coffees that folks can come in. I have kids perform. We'll have students that perform their solo ensemble. We'll come in and do a couple of songs for the folks that come in. We have coffee. We have some breakfast goods there. And then we will do a final one in May where we'll have our kindergarten kids come in and actually read the book that they wrote.
Oh, awesome.
So you can't do much cuter than kindergarten kids coming in there. But that we did have to move it up to March 13th. There's a conflict that we have going there with spring break. So,
Sure.
And then we will be moving up this talk 1 week, hopefully, because we won't be able to do it on because it's spring break. We have
Right.
conflict there. So.
All right. And then obviously I mentioned the football field. We've talked about a lot of different activities going on, a very highly engaged community in Horicon. The Marshman Foundation is at the forefront of that in terms of just leading everything.
It really is. They just supported us we had a wellness day with our staff. They gave a $2,000 donation to offset expenses and costs so that it didn't come down on the school district to, just to really, they support them in so many different ways. We have a huge golf tournament coming up in August that we'll be talking about a lot more in the future.
Take me to
But
golf
they
season.
they just support us in so many different ways, to kids programs. They gave money to all of those groups I just talked to. They've given money to those to help support those. So again, our Marshman Foundation really makes some things happen. The Chamber of Commerce also helped pay for these episodes as well. And we have such a positive partnership with our chamber as well, and just like our city. So it's all good.
We're
Everything's good in the Marsh. Come
Awesome.
join us.
We're happy to be here and help you spread that message. I want to thank Rich Appel, Grayson Stocks, and Josh Maas for all joining us today. Any last-second messages, calls to action for those who want to be involved in everything going on in Horicon right now?
The one thing that be looking for input from the community, if they would like to provide any input on, because the superintendent search is ongoing right now.
Yes.
And so there's going to be information that's going to be shared out there regarding how people can say what they'd like to see in their next superintendent. And then the timeline, there'll be more information coming on when those events are going to be happening and when they're hoping to have a final decision for my replacement.
All right. Well, remarkable stuff. We'll keep an eye out for that as that timeline goes on. I want to thank all three of you for coming on to 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV today. The proceeding has been a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during this program have been that of the Marsh Talk team, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.